In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can toggle on and off the HUD elements in many games by using this Reshade add-on that is very advanced, and actually it allows you to change things like fog. For example, you see this fog that's all over the game, you can turn it off if you don't like it. Or you can just turn it off for testing purposes, because the HDR black floor is heavily affected by this fog that's everywhere. So if you're testing the HDR just to make sure you have perfect blacks, you don't want that fog, just giving you a false reading or impression, because you might be crushing blacks just to get rid of that black level rays, and it is actually the fog. So for testing purposes, for this HDR analysis tool, I believe the best is to turn off TAA, temporal anti-aliasing, completely, if possible, and also turn off this fog, okay? That's going to give you the cleanest picture. Then you tweak that, and then of course, if you don't want to affect the creator's intent, because you think that's actually very important, then you can just, okay, after you finish testing, you just turn it back on to the mess. Okay, and you enjoy the creative intent. Of course, I don't want to turn off the fog completely on this game, but I realize that in some areas it is just too much, man. It's just way too much. I would turn it down a lot, and yeah, I cannot turn it just down with this. You can just either turn it on and or off. There's no middle ground, and that would be great actually if we had like a fog, a slider, and I believe the developers should give that option. I understand, it can completely change the mood of the game, but let me do it. Okay, let me be the creator of my own experience. That would be the best, in my opinion. But here's what we're talking about. Let me show you. This is called Shader Toggler, okay? Let me increase the size here, and I'm gonna show you. This is very advanced, okay? It can take a lot of work depending on the game. It can take a lot just to find exactly the shaders or the thing that the HUD elements, basically. So what you have to do is you have to install this Shader Toggler, okay? So during the normal installation process of Reshade, you have to make sure you download the Reshade that has full add-on support, okay? So during that installation, you get to the add-ons page, and then you're going to download this. You just have to check these boxes, Shader Toggler, and also there's another one called Reshade Effect Shader Toggler. Now this one is not working on this game. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. So far, this is the one that I've tested, and I know how to use it. They are both very similar, but I believe this one, Reshade Effect Shader Toggler, might have some more options that might be more convenient. So for example, what I would really like on this game, because I need the HUD, sometimes I need to know my health and all of that. What I would really like is to be able to just make it transparent, a little bit transparent, so it doesn't bother me as much. Like in Remnant, for example, in Remnant 2, you can get some transparency. That's what I would like. So I don't know, maybe this add-on would allow you to actually get some transparency on the HUD, but I'm not sure. I have been able to make it work on this game, but for this one, I'm gonna explain to you how it works, and it's actually it's easy to work, but what's difficult is to find what you're looking for, basically. So here's what you have to do. Just click here on New. So under this list of toggle groups, you click on New. You see this number 3 here. Then you click on Edit, and they are going to create a shortcut. You're just gonna add a shortcut key. Number 6, for example. Okay, and then you're going to click on change shaders, and then you're gonna get this. You're gonna get this thing here that says, you know, number of compute shaders active, number of pixel shaders active, number of vertex shaders active. So there are 3 things that we're going to be, searching. Let's say 3 things to search here. 3 different kind of things to search here. I'm not a developer. I don't understand exactly what these are, but we have basically 1, 2, and 3 things that you're gonna go, back and forth. Basically, one is this compute shaders, the other one is the pixel shaders, and the other one is the vertex shaders. So if you come here to general info, you're going to see that you're gonna use the numpad 1 and 2 to go, previous and next pixel shader. Okay, so you're gonna go. Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna go here 1 and 2, for example. I'm pressing 1, and you see here this pixel shader. It says current selected pixel shader 151. Okay, I'm switching here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna look at the HUD elements and see. Okay, for example, this one. You see this one, pixel shader number 136. This is the one that is turning on and off the fog. Okay, because while you're circling around these pixel shaders, when you are stepping on top of one of them, it's going to turn off the effect on the game. So you know what is that affecting, okay? So once you find, for example, okay, you find these fog elements, what you have to do is you have to save that. So then when you turn this on, that's the one that is gonna be turned off, basically. So you're using 1 and 2 to find it, and once you find it with 1 and 2, then you're going to press 3. And when you press 3, it's gonna tell you shader is part of this toggle group. So I'm talking about number 3 on the keypad. Okay. So then you just keep going, and anytime you find something you want to turn it off, you make it part of that group, and all of those are the shaders are going to be affected. Okay. So then with 4 and 5, so you have 1 and 2, then you go 4 and 5 until you find, for example, the HUD elements. 4 and 5 are changing these vertex shaders. Okay, so for example, this vertex shader is also affecting the fog. So you can save that with number 6. Okay, with number 6 you save that, and now that shader is part of this toggle group. So when you toggle your hotkey, that is also going to be affected. Okay, and then you can change from 7 to 8. With 7 and 8, you can change the compute shaders. Okay, so you do the same. You go and you find what you want. For example, let's find I'm not sure if the HUD elements are going to be on the compute shaders, but let's try to find it. If it's not on the compute shaders, then I'll go to the pixel shaders. You see 17 out of 103. So it takes some patience. So it's not here, of course. It's not here on the compute shaders. Let's find where is the HUD element on the pixel shaders. Let's find it. So I'm toggling the pixel shaders to find the HUD until it turns off. You see things are starting to disappear. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing the 2. I'm pressing 2, circling around this. Oh, here it is. See? So now, what I am circling around is the pixel shaders. So number 54. Number 54 is the HUD. So what I have to do is I have to save that using 3. Okay? This shader is part of the toggle group. Okay? So after you do that work, after you find the HUD, for example, that's all you want to turn off. You just find the HUD, and then you are just going to use your hotkey. So now you just click done, and okay, And now the shortcut key is 6. So I selected 6. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to press 6, and then you see the HUD is going away and the fog is going away. So in this case, for example, myself, I'm not going to get rid of the fog, because that changes the game completely. But I will be using, so I'm just gonna and then you can just erase it. Basically you can just delete it from here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use just a hotkey to turn off the HUD. Okay, because I don't like to be watching at the HUD all the time. So if I start dying or something, then okay, yes, I will be looking at the HUD, or a boss fight or something like that. But the previous boss fight, I was able to beat it without even looking at the HUD, because I already had some practice with that boss. So that's what I'm gonna be using this for. And I also use this to fix the HDR. So let me show you the new settings I am using for OLED Motion Pro High on the LG C1. I slightly changed the settings I show you on the previous video based on this knowledge. So now I realize that if I turn off the HUD, then this menu, this game menu, it doesn't come up. Okay, so if I turn it off, you see now the HUD is off, the game menu is not showing. So I need the HUD on so the menu works. But it's just a key, it's just a HUD key, so it's not difficult to change. So let me show you the settings I'm using right now. So I have the brightness set 4 to the right, the same as I showed you last time. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. And then the contrast, on the previous video, I was increasing the contrast a little bit, trying to get rid of that fog effect, basically. Because I thought, okay, I think I'm raising the black floor too much to increase the visibility near black for OLED Motion Pro High. And then I said, okay, let me increase the contrast a little bit, just to, trying to keep that contrast. But then I realized, because I can test a cleaner picture now, I realized that was not necessary. So I just left the contrast at default, and I also realized that I didn't have to lower this black floor that much. Okay, so then I just increased the black point to 0.0042. Okay, 0.0042. This is the native HDR of the game. And then I just left the tone mapping the way I show you, basically. So let me show you the tone mapping. I kept it the same, BT2446 method A. The maximum tone mapping brightness is 10,027 nits, and the target brightness is 1000 for OLED Motion Pro High with dynamic tone mapping, master in peak max CLL 1000. And then I am increasing the color saturation by lowering this gamut compression to 1. Okay, and the reason is, we're washing out the colors doing this, increasing the visibility near black. So that's why I am trying to increase the color saturation. So then these are the game settings, the reshade, and these are the TV settings, which I showed you last time just before we end the video. Let me show you that again. I'm gonna be playing this game. I'm gonna definitely beat this game, so it's very important for me to nail the settings. Okay, maybe tomorrow I will tweak it a little bit more, but this is the update. Okay, but I think this is settled. I mean, I think this is perfect now. Master in peak max CLL 1000 for OLED Motion Pro High. Okay, so there you go. Let me know if you have any questions. I think this is very, very important, because we have so many, I mean, I would say most games are now coming with this, heavy fog everywhere, and then we're trying to analyze the HDR. Let me get rid of the HUD. And we're trying to analyze the HDR, and then we're wondering, is that black level raised, or is that the fog, or is that a color filter? Okay, maybe with this shader toggler we might be able to find the color filter and turn it off. I'm not sure. I would love to see that. But it is so important because yeah, that fog is definitely affecting the black floor. You can see it. It looks like it is raised everywhere, but it is not gonna be raised in those places where you don't have a lot of fog. Okay, like inside the mansion, in some places, like inside Geppetto's room, there's almost no fog, and then you see the perfect blacks, and the contrast looks better. So it is very important to be able to turn that off, and I can turn it off with this toggler. So for example, right now I'm turning it off. You see the black floor goes down a little bit. Okay, goes down a little bit. So it is important to be able to turn it off, even if you're going to actually use it, just for testing purposes. So yeah, I think this is very, very important. And you don't see perfect blacks here, but there's perfect blacks in many places. I tested this already a lot. I mean, I'll show you. For example, let me go here. I'll come here and show you. So you see that this line actually goes down, even with the fog. Even with the fog, I think over here, I got perfect blacks over here. See if I turn this off. Yeah, if I turn this off, the fog basically, you see minimum CLL, it goes down to 0. Look at here. See right there, it's 0 now. So this is like this, okay? So the minimum CLL goes down to 0, but this is turning off the fog, okay? If I turn it back on, it goes up. See? But the thing is, I don't want to crush blacks. So what happens, if I keep that fog on and I lower the black floor, so it is perfect, I crush blacks, I crush details. When I look at the character, this cloth, I'm crushing blacks, okay, as I cannot. So what I have to do to make sure the black floor is perfect is I have to get rid of the fog, which makes a big difference. Look, I'm gonna get rid of that fog here. Look, it's just a gigantic difference. Look at this. Let me get rid of this. Look at this. Before, after. Look at that. Before, after. Of course, you need that fog because otherwise this light source has no, see, it doesn't have this, I don't know how to call that. You lose a lot, and then this background is way too visible, so it changes the mood of the game. You need that fog for the game. Unfortunately, I would like to turn it down a little bit, but the thing is, I am making sure that the black floor is actually perfect. So after I make sure the black floor is perfect, then I can just turn it back on again, no problem. And yeah, it's still going to look foggy because there's a lot of fog, but at least I'm sure that, you know, aside from the fog, the contrast is gonna be great. Okay, so I think that is that's definitely a much better way to change the settings than just to, you know, just to deal with that fog, because then you might be crushing details just to get a good contrast. And if there is fog, you're gonna get a foggy picture. That's how it is. Okay, so let me know your thoughts and opinions, and if you have any questions. This is definitely a little bit more intimidating to get into, because depending on the game, you might have so many pixel shaders and vertex and all of that, and it might be difficult to find the HUD elements. And sometimes you might find that the HUD elements are actually they go together with something else. Like for example, here I would like to turn on and off the HUDs, but not the menu. Okay, well, maybe in a game you turn off the HUD elements, and then, you know, something else goes off that you don't want. That might happen too. So this is not like ideal, it's gonna work for every game, but it might work for something like this, just to make your life easier, so you don't have to go to the menu. Of course, in this game you can go to the menu, turn off the HUD, but Yeah, they should add a hotkey. Like, I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 has a hotkey for the HUD, and I think that should be a standard. I mean, I don't like to use HUDs at all. I like, for example, Elden Ring has this automatic HUD that if you don't need it, it's gonna turn off. I don't need to see this all the time. See, maybe just my health, and that's it. So if I'm not engaging in combat, I don't want to see none of this. Okay, so automatically turn that off. That should be obvious, but I don't know what they missed that. But the game is fantastic. So let me know your thoughts and opinions, and if you have any questions.